Chiyou, a Shenguai who lost her body in battle, sought a human vessel to reclaim her power. Though she planned to use Kou, he became too precious to her. But when a monster attacked, Kou offered his body to help her regain her lost face. With her power, they defeated the Shenguai, and Kou finally saw her true face. Their journey together has just begun.
Chapter 2 opens with Chiyou celebrating her recovered face. She admires her restored beauty, experimenting with every expression imaginable, from joy and anger to grief and delight, while boasting of her own magnificence. Kou, unimpressed by her theatrics, offers only a sarcastic clap. The Shenguai then addresses the protagonist, explaining that with her face back, she can now cast a rare spell to transform into a terrifying beast capable of blending into a crowd. Kou notes her unusually high energy as she excitedly jumps around, feeling overwhelmed by her insistence that he witness her trick. With a burst of smoke, she transforms. As the smoke clears, Kou is astonished, but not by fear. He finds her new form, a small owl with long legs, unbearably cute, and asks if she had turned into a mushroom. Disappointed and furious, Chiyou loudly declares she is a ferocious owl. The main character is simply glad that she is happy, even as she pecks him with her beak. He thinks to himself how eager he is to recover the rest of her body. The scene shifts to the pair traveling along the river on a slow boat. Kou questions whether the vessel will ever reach its destination, but Chiyou urges him to be patient and enjoy the scenery. She explains they are headed to a bookstore in a nearby town to meet an acquaintance who might have information about her scattered body parts. Kou, surprised she even had acquaintances, murmurs that traveling by road would have been faster, adding shyly that he is uncomfortable when strangers are around. At that moment, the captain of the boat greets him. The old man remarks on the cuteness of Kou's little companion, mistakenly assuming she is a talking parrot. Chiyou struggles to maintain her disguise, forcing out loud owl sounds to avoid suspicion. Soon after, the boatman announces they must stop, the fog is thickening too quickly. He explains that the once scenic river is now feared, mentioning unsettling stories of people witnessing giants. As he prepares to drop them off, Chiyou insists they continue, boldly claiming that Kou will pay him triple the fare. Kou is stunned by her reckless claim. He seizes her wing in disbelief, demanding to know why she would endanger them and calling her crazy mushroom. The owl only grins wickedly, reminding him that he will be the one paying, since she knows how much money he had earned from the stew lady. She hops around with unrestrained energy, determined to press forward for the sake of the scenery. Kou, completely perplexed, can't understand her obsession with the scenery. He reminds her of the entire point of their trip, which was not to sightsee but to reclaim her missing body parts. With sorrowful eyes, the Shenguai finally confesses the painful truth: it's been 5,000 years since she has had eyes to see anything. Kou is deeply touched, understanding the profound motive behind her insistence. Chiyou breaks the tension with a serious note, declaring that the quest is not a simple race that a novice like him can charge through, advising him to look around and lift his eyes off the ground. Suddenly, a massive Shenguai serpent surges from beneath the water, rocking the boat violently. Chiyou identifies the beast, explaining it came to feed on tourists and never left, becoming the source of the persistent fog. She tries to communicate with the creature, but it lunges at her. Trembling in fear, she condemns the lesser creature for daring to ruin her sightseeing trip. The serpent then snaps at Chiyou, lifting her high in its jaws, ready to swallow her whole. Terrified, Kou freezes. From the monster's grip, Chiyou cries out, urging him to use the power she granted him the day before. Frustrated, Kou shouts back, questioning how he could possibly cut through something so enormous. Chiyou reminds him of the mark on his wrist, which grants him access to her divine power, the ability to wield her arcane weapons with the might of a god. Guided by her words, Kou reaches out and summons a mighty sword. The owl shouts desperately that he can totally kill the snake and urges him to save her. Kou gathers his strength, and with a powerful strike, he hurls the sword deep into the serpent's neck. Chiyou leaps onto his shoulder, saved and relieved. Kou reassures his companion of his strength, and with newfound speed and agility, he leaps toward the beast. The serpent is unable to react as Kou drives the blade deeper into its neck, and with a final, powerful surge of divine power, he slices clean through it. The massive head of the serpent falls into the river. The boatman, who had fainted, regains consciousness and watches in awe as the fog finally dissipates and sunlight streams down upon the river. The old man urges the young hero to look at the scenery, the clear skies and bright sun, as people begin gathering along the shore to thank him. Kou, whose trust issues are immediately triggered, insists he wants to leave. But the old man insists that the grateful townspeople should at least be allowed to thank him. Kou, sweating nervously, admits he isn't good with crowds. The old man reassures him, urging him to simply let them see him. As the boat reaches shore, Kou lowers his head, overcome by anxiety. But then, someone gently takes his hand. An old woman, smiling through her tears, welcomes him, followed by many other joyful, grateful faces. Kou stands in awe, hearing their heartfelt thanks. Chiyou explains that thanks to him, she is finally able to see this breathtaking scenery, which is more beautiful than she ever imagined. Kou responds with true sincerity, admitting he saw smiling faces and scenery he had never seen before. He acknowledges that she was right, and that he is still just a novice with much to learn. With a bright, genuine smile, the protagonist declares a powerful conclusion. The day had been a revelation, showing him not just the beauty of the world, but the immense potential he possessed to accomplish so much more for her. Chiyou, satisfied, reminds him it's time to move on and continue their quest. Kou and Chiyou finally reached the ancient town of Tianrui. The streets looked abandoned, yet a sudden horde of donkeys swarmed toward them. One tugged on Kou's sleeve, chewing on the fabric. Startled, he looked around and realized they were surrounded. Donkeys filled the streets in every direction. When he turned, he was horrified to see Chiyou, still in her small elf form, being mobbed by the herd. They tried to bite and peck at her feathers. Kou lunged forward, yanking her out of their mouths, and bolted as the herd gave chase. Chiyou frantically flapped a wing, pointing toward a shop ahead. They dashed inside, slamming the door behind them. Kou panted in disbelief, muttering that the town was bizarre. The strange scent clinging to Chiyou didn't help his unease. Inside, silence greeted them. The shop was lined with shelves stacked with old books and relics. Kou brushed his hand over the dust, remarking on the ancient look of everything. The place seemed deserted. He guessed the workers must have gone out for lunch. But Chiyou frowned. It was odd, she thought. Why would anyone leave without locking the doors? Kou's eyes wandered. A photograph caught his attention, a family photo. He lingered on it for a moment, the image stirring unease and curiosity, before Chiyou interrupted, unimpressed, calling the place disappointing. With a shrug, they stepped back outside. Sitting on a bench, they wondered aloud where her acquaintance might be. Chiyou admitted she'd only met him a handful of times, and the last meeting had been decades ago. She sighed, her voice unusually soft. The whole town felt strange. Kou nodded in agreement, baffled by the endless donkeys. How could there be so many animals and no people at all? Where had they come from? Their answer seemed to appear at the city gates. 2 donkeys dragging a cart rolled in, led by a cheerful woman. She greeted them warmly, surprised to see anyone still in the town. She explained that people whispered of a curse, every single inhabitant had mysteriously vanished. Her group had only stopped here on their way to the next town. At Kou's side, Chiyou watched carefully, while Kou's eyes fixed on the girl traveling with her. He recognized her, she was the child from the family photo he'd seen in the shop. When he asked, the woman confirmed they were merchants. With a bright smile, the merchant declared it was Kou's lucky day. She offered him a donkey meat burger, claiming it was the plank bridge inn's finest fare. It was leftover stock, she explained, and she hated wasting food. Kou hesitated, but her words were persuasive. Just as he was about to take a bite, the little girl suddenly slapped it out of his hands. Shocked, Kou looked to her for answers. The merchant's cheerful face twisted into fury. Her voice lashed like a whip as she berated the girl, who bowed her head, trembling and begging for forgiveness. Kou, stunned, tried to intervene, but the woman seized a stick and struck the child mercilessly. Blow after blow fell, until she raised her arm again to strike harder. This time, Kou caught her wrist. For a heartbeat, their eyes locked. Behind her pleasant facade, he saw it, something dark, twisted, and cruel. Then, just as quickly, she snapped back into her smiling merchant act, apologizing sweetly and offering to make him another burger. She vanished toward her cart, leaving Kou uneasy. He tried to brush it off, picking the burger up from the ground, saying it was still edible. But a wave of drowsiness crept over him, heavy and unnatural. The girl edged closer, whispering her thanks for standing up for her. Kou's eyes lingered on her. Something about her felt familiar. Before he could ask, a shadow fell across him. The merchant returned, watching with predatory intent. To shield the girl, he quickly changed the subject, asking if she helped with the family business. She nodded fearfully, grateful just to assist. Kou then asked why the town was so empty. But before she could answer, movement flickered behind him, a cleaver swung down, aimed at his head. At the last second, Chiyou intercepted. She mocked the woman coldly, revealing Kou as her vessel and sneering that the burger she had prepared would be her last. The merchant hissed in shock, recognizing her true identity, the goddess of war, bound to a human boy. Kou didn't hesitate. He struck fast, landing a blow that forced the woman back. Her disguise fell away, revealing her monstrous self, a Shenguai woman wielding twisted powers, known as the Third Lady of Plank Bridge. Chiyou quickly explained the truth. She had heard the story long ago, of a Shenguai who disguised herself as a kind merchant, traveling with a cart, serving donkey meat burgers, and turning unsuspecting humans into donkeys. The realization crashed down on Kou. His heart sank as he finally understood. The donkeys, they weren't animals at all. They were the townspeople, cursed and trapped in pitiful forms. Cold sweat ran down his neck as the horror of it set in. He grabbed the little girl's arm, urging her to come with them, but she resisted. Tears welled in her eyes as the Shenguai turned toward her parents, now mindless donkeys. With a brutal swing, she struck one down. The girl crumbled, running forward, begging, promising never to run away again. But the monster ignored her cries, raising her cleaver to end it. Steel clashed in an instant. Kou's blade met hers, sparks bursting as he pushed her back. The Shenguai staggered, startled by his sudden strength. Kou glanced down at the girl, managing a faint smile to reassure her. From his shoulder, Chiyou emerged in her elf form, her tone urgent. She revealed the truth: her acquaintance had been transformed into a donkey, and the only way to break the curse was to slay the Shenguai. Kou's eyes burned with fury. He clenched his sword, declaring his intent. This time, there was no hesitation, no fear. His anger and resolve pushed him forward. He thought of the girl, of her helplessness, and of his own past, the pain of watching loved ones suffer, powerless to save them. Nothing was more torturous than that. With fire in his chest, he tightened his grip. His sword gleamed in the dim light as he stepped forward. The battle had only just begun.